me also just talk about evil versus good. We're seeing it right now. The college campuses, Columbia, Yale. Mark, I mean, you got professors saying Hamas was right. Yep. You've got rabbis a rabbi at Columbia told the Jewish students, get off campus and stay home.
The warnings are going out to people, especially in the Orthodox community, people who quote unquote look Jewish. You know, your yarmulke is not your friend on the campus of some of these elite universities. Oh my! Where does this come? Was this always there? Was it just latent and now it just rises up because of the current, or is this recently hatched in the American psyche? What do you think is going on?
See, that's what I can't wrap my brain around. Were these anti-Semites always around and we just didn't know it? Have they become anti-Semitic because of their perception that the Palestinian people are suffering? I don't get it. But so much for the canard, so much for the bald-faced lie. Well, we're not pro-Hamas. We're just pro-Palestinian. Oh, no. They're pro-Hamas. Yes, and I mean, screaming, you make us proud, kill another soldier now. Al-Qassam brigades, you make us proud. I mean, this is, and this is going to fall on the presidents of these elite universities. What are they doing about it? Well, this morning at Yale, as I'm sure you've heard, finally they've called in the cops. They called in the NYPD yesterday at Columbia. They're starting to clear them out. Ilhan Omar's daughter was one of the people arrested. She now claims to be homeless and starving after she was arrested, spent the night in the Hooskow. And we're witnessing sheer, raw, unabashed evil. And speaking of the evil, tell me you saw Congressman Benny Thompson, the top Democrat on the House Homeland Security Committee. He wants to make sure that Donald Trump loses his Secret Service protection if he gets convicted in one of these farces.
It's kind of funny. He didn't actually come out and say that. He said, I've kind of got an idea, Mr. Thompson said. I have an idea that if in the future, if somebody is a convicted felon, they lose Secret Service protection. Now,
not someone. No, this bill.
Who might this be?
Yeah, the bill is called the Denying Infinite Security and Government Resources Allocated Towards Convicted and Extremely Dishonorable Former Protectees Act. It stands for disgraced.
I was going to say, I smell an acronym there somewhere.
Under the law, former presidents like Trump are given Secret Service protection. I mean, this has been one of the real interesting dilemmas. If he gets convicted, and I believe he will, what happens if they send him to jail?
I mean,
well, guess what? If he's stripped of Secret Service protection, he may very well get shanked. Mark, I'm not kidding you. They want him killed.
Yep.
That's what they want. Benny Thompson, and I will say it, and I don't give a crap how much flack I get. These filthy, disgusting, evil people want the man murdered. They want him dead. They're getting more and more desperate. We're now a little over 6 months from the election, Mark. And you can see the desperation intensify. I saw some articles getting ready for the show today. One that says his flatulence is out of control. They're accusing him of having flatulence in the courtroom. Honest to gosh, that was a real article. Another article that says he actually hates police. He despises law enforcement. That was in the Daily Beast. That was that Ron Filipowski guy that's just always on social media ranting and raving about Trump. I mean, they're really getting terrified because they're looking at the polling. I mean, he's surging in all the battleground states. He's tied in Wisconsin. That shouldn't be true. And frankly, Mark, you and I have talked about it. I think the polling is underrepresenting Trump support, don't you?
It usually does, because Trump supporters tend to not want to involve themselves in polls. They tend to not answer the phone. They tend to not agree to take part in such surveys. So does that mean that, generally speaking, there's a 3 or 4%, just to make up a number, of Trump support that's underrepresented because our folks don't like polls?
Well, and then let's bake into the cake over the weekend a bunch of Democrats waving Ukrainian flags, screaming and chanting for Ukraine.
It wasn't just Democrats. It was not just Democrats.
Well, because everything I've seen, it was Democrats. Were there Republicans waving the flags?
I'm not sure. Well, they might as well have been, in view of the $61 billion of our dollars that they funneled to Zelensky.
So let's face it. Let's just face some hard realities here. Mike Johnson and the establishment, traditional Republicans beat back Marjorie Taylor Greene
Matt
and all
Gaetz.
the rebels and all the sharp-elbowed Republicans. That's the way it was characterized. In fact, even the New York Post, Moscow Marge, showing, Marjorie.
That is the oldest trope in the old
I know.
against the backdrop of this relatively brief story, is that if you are skeptical of Ukraine aid, looking to have a negotiated settlement so that we can end this war, so that we don't get to American blood, our sons and daughters dying in Ukraine, that means that you are a Putin fanboy. It means that you are that you are Neville Chamberlain instead of Winston Churchill. Spare me.
It's a lie. And it's what they said about Tucker. Now, Tucker's in some hot water these days.
Yes, he is, and he deserves 100% of it.
Well, you've never liked him. You've
I
always
love him.
No,
I
you
love
don't.
him.
No, you don't.
I dared to point out the occasions, and there have been a few, where he's absolutely in orbit around Neptune. And the most recent one is to hate on America for the decision to drop bombs that ended World War II. He called that evil. He's an idiot on that issue. So brilliant on so many others.
How dare you?
So many other, and this is the removed from the guardrails of Fox News. Tucker now occupies this weird professional contrarian-in-chief thing.
Yeah.
What happened to Building 7? Did we really land on the moon? I'm just asking questions.
I know.
My dude.
I know.
Your boy has a problem.
Well, I don't know what he's doing exactly. I mean, when he talked to Joe Rogan about Building 7, I thought, what? Come on, guys. This is what you're doing now? Speaking of conspiracies, how about the guy that lit himself on fire outside the Trump trial the other day? And now, did you see the video of the way they transported him out of there?
No, what?
Mark, there's a video. I mean, I don't want to be graphic here in the morning, and I know people are eating breakfast. I mean, this poor mentally deranged guy, and he was apparently a Bernie Sanders supporter. Here we go again with the Bernie Sanders supporters. Lights himself on fire. Everybody's standing there looking at him. Of course, what do? They grab their cameras and show it. When they lifted him onto the stretcher, they drop him like a sack of potatoes. Now, if you've just let yourself on fire and your body is singed, and of course he did die eventually, because what a way to go. I mean,
that's terrible.
But Mark, they dropped him on the stretcher like hard, like they were mad at him. Ooh. And I thought, and so then everybody's looking at that video, and on social media, it's like a big conspiracy theory that's all fake, and this is a false flag, and I mean, man, I wonder if Alex Jones has weighed in on this one yet.
I can't imagine.
I mean, but it was just awful and sickening, and just shows the depth of mental illness and how far people can go.
It is indeed, and taking a pivot in another type of mental illness, Trump derangement syndrome. Last 30 seconds. The Trump trial starts today. Here we go. Listen, maybe I need to say this every day. Mike, you are with me 100% on this, aren't you? That it's 1,000% outrage that this is not on television. It's the public's business trait taking place in there. We should be able to see the nuts and bolts of the persecution of Trump in this joke of a courtroom. And I shouldn't have to rely on reporters and courtroom artists.
But if they put it on TV, the world would see how bad this is and how unfair it is. That's the thing. They don't want it on TV. They don't want people to see this.
What should be their choice? There should be a camera in every flipping courtroom, everywhere at every level. It's the public's business being.
But especially this one, where he's the Republican nominee for president, and right now most Americans favor him. You don't think we have a right to see? But they are going to be unfair. They already are. I mean, the judge. Have you seen how many millions of dollars the daughter has raised? The daughter of the judge.
I know.
Mark. This is obscene. It's and denying him Secret Service protection.
I know.
If one of these kangaroo courts gives him a conviction, God help him. I mean it. I pray for his safety and security all the time, and continually. We have to, without ceasing.
Indeed. All right. Well, we're ready for you, man. We are ready for the week to come.
Monday.
Here we go. Indeed. The Monday Mike Gallagher Show.